Hey everyone, welcome back to. If you've ever struggled to learn something new, stick around because today we're sharing 10 powerful mind tricks that will help you learn anything faster. We're talking about scientifically backed techniques that will turbocharge your brain power, whether you're cramming for a big exam, picking up a new language, or just trying to absorb information like a sponge. Get ready to unlock the secrets of learning because these mind tricks are about to change the way you learn forever. Ready? Let's dive in! First up, we have the concept of the sleep sandwich. Imagine you have a big exam or presentation tomorrow, but you're short on time. What do most people do? Cram all night, right? They think staying up late and pushing through will help them remember everything. Here's the thing, cramming doesn't work. Why? Because your brain needs sleep to process and store new information. Without sleep, your brain is like a cluttered desk, unable to find anything. It's like trying to stuff a whole pizza into a mini fridge. There's just not enough space. Think of it this way, you spend all day cramming information into your brain. You're piling up facts, figures, and concepts. That's like putting all the ingredients for a delicious sandwich together. You've got everything you need. You've got the bread, the meat, the cheese, the veggies, everything's there. It looks perfect. But then, instead of letting those flavors meld and the sandwich become more than the sum of its parts, you try to eat it all at once. It's overwhelming. It's just a jumbled mess, right? You can't enjoy it and it's falling apart. That's what cramming does to your brain. It turns all that information into a chaotic jumble. You need sleep to let those neural connections solidify. Sleep acts like the time needed for the flavors to meld in your sandwich. So instead of pulling an all-nighter, try the sleep sandwich method. Study for a bit, get a good night's sleep, and then review the material again in the morning. This way, your brain has time to process and organize the information, making it easier to recall. Your brain will thank you for it. You'll feel more refreshed, focused, and ready to tackle that exam or presentation with confidence. Next is, have you ever felt like you've mastered something after just a little practice? That's what we call the illusion of mastery. For example, say you're learning to draw and nail a simple sketch. You feel confident, but are you really improving? Here's the key. True mastery comes from pushing your limits, not staying in your comfort zone. It's like lifting weights. If you only lift the same weight every time, your muscles won't get any stronger. So how do you modify for mastery? First, identify the areas where you're struggling or feel most comfortable. Then, ramp up the difficulty. If you nailed that simple sketch, try something more complex with more detail. Remember, the goal is to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's where the real learning happens. By constantly pushing your boundaries and seeking new challenges, you'll break through those plateaus and achieve true mastery in any skill. Number 3 is, ever notice how studying different subjects back to back can sometimes feel like a jumbled mess? It's like your brain is trying to juggle too many balls at once. You're learning about history one minute, then diving into algebra the next, and it feels like your brain is playing a chaotic game of mental hopscotch. The constant switching can be overwhelming. Well, get this. A study showed that people who studied scrambled information, like mixed art styles, learned faster than those who studied in blocks. This means that mixing subjects might actually be beneficial. Why? Interweaving forces your brain to make connections between topics, strengthening your memory. It's like giving your brain a workout, making it more resilient and adaptable. It's like building a network of mental bridges. These bridges help you link different pieces of information together, creating a more cohesive understanding. Instead of isolating information in separate compartments, you're creating pathways that link everything together. This interconnected approach can make learning more dynamic and engaging. This not only makes it easier to recall information, but also helps you see the bigger picture. You start to understand how different subjects relate to each other, enhancing your overall comprehension. So, how do you interweave subjects effectively? It's all about strategic planning and variety. Instead of dedicating hours to a single subject, try mixing it up. Set a timer to switch subjects every 30 minutes or so. Study history for a bit, then switch to math, then maybe dive into some literature. This constant rotation keeps your brain alert and engaged. By constantly shifting gears, you'll keep your brain engaged and create a web of interconnected knowledge that's far more powerful than isolated facts. This method not only enhances learning but also makes studying more enjoyable and less monotonous. Chapter 4, Chewing Gum. Alright, here's a fun one, chewing gum. I know, it sounds too good to be true, but trust me on this one. Studies show that chewing gum can actually boost your focus, reduce stress, and keep you motivated. Plus, certain flavors even make your brain more flexible and alert. Think about it, when you chew gum, you're engaging multiple senses: taste, smell, and touch. This sensory input sends signals to your brain, essentially waking it up and saying, hey, pay attention. Not only that, But chewing gum also increases blood flow to the brain, providing it with the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function at its best. It's like giving your brain a mini workout. So next time you're hitting the books or tackling a challenging task, pop in a piece of gum. But remember, not all gum is created equal. Opt for sugar-free gum with flavors like peppermint or cinnamon, as these have been shown to boost cognitive function even further. Chapter 5. Intellectual hydration. Let's talk about intellectual hydration. Did you know that drinking water during a test can improve your performance by up to 10%? It's a simple yet powerful way to boost your brain power when you need it the most. Hydration keeps your brain functioning at its best, helping you retain information and solve problems more effectively. When you're well hydrated, your brain cells are better able to communicate with each other, making learning and thinking processes smoother. Think of your brain like a high-performance engine. It needs the right fuel to run smoothly, and that fuel is water. Just like a car can't run without gas, your brain can't function optimally without adequate hydration. When you're dehydrated, your brain simply can't operate at full capacity. You might experience headaches, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating, all of which can hinder your academic performance. But when you're properly hydrated, your brain cells are plump and happy, firing on all cylinders. This optimal state allows for better neural connections, which translates to improved cognitive abilities. This means improved focus, sharper memory, and enhanced cognitive function. You'll find it easier to concentrate on tasks, remember important information, and think more clearly. So, how much water should you be drinking? Aim for at least 8 glasses a day, which is roughly 2 liters. This ensures that your body and brain stay hydrated throughout the day. And make sure to sip on water throughout the day, especially during study sessions or when you need to be mentally sharp. Keeping a water bottle handy can serve as a constant reminder to stay hydrated. Remember, even mild dehydration can impact your cognitive performance. Symptoms like tiredness, dizziness, and confusion can set in before you even feel thirsty. So don't wait until you're thirsty to reach for that water bottle. Make it a habit to drink water regularly, and your brain will thank you. Keep yourself hydrated, and you'll be amazed at how much sharper your thinking becomes. Not only will you feel more alert, but your overall mood and energy levels will also improve, making your study sessions more productive and enjoyable. Chapter 6. Multiple mediums. Number 6 is multiple mediums. If you always study the same way, like using flashcards, it might be time to mix things up. Try combining methods. Write notes, draw diagrams, or explain the material out loud. Think of it this way. You're essentially creating multiple pathways to the same destination in your brain. The more pathways you create, the easier it is for your brain to access that information later on. For example, if you're learning about the human circulatory system, you could read about it in a textbook, watch a video explanation, draw a diagram of the heart, and then explain it to a friend. By engaging different parts of your brain, you're creating a richer, more interconnected understanding of the material. Chapter 7. Speed reading. Speaking of efficiency, let's talk about speed reading. Did you know the average person reads about 200 words per minute, but with practice you can reach 700 to 1,000 words per minute. That's a game changer for learning faster. Now, speed reading isn't about skimming or skipping over words. It's about training your eyes and brain to process information more efficiently. One of the biggest obstacles to speed reading is something called subvocalization, which is that little voice in your head that reads along as you go. To overcome subvocalization, try using a pacer, like your finger or a pen, to guide your eyes across the page. This forces your eyes to move faster and helps to silence that inner voice. Another key technique is to focus on chunks of words rather than individual words. With practice and the right techniques, you can significantly increase your reading speed and absorb information at a much faster rate. Chapter 8. Musical stress relief. Many people study better with music, and science backs this up. Music helps reduce stress, boost your mood, and improve memory. Think about it. When you listen to music you enjoy, your brain releases dopamine, a feel-good neurotransmitter that's been linked to enhanced learning and memory. Plus, music can help to drown out distractions and create a more focused study environment. But not all music is created equal when it comes to studying. Opt for instrumental music, like classical or ambient music, as lyrics can be distracting. And keep the volume at a moderate level. Too loud and it becomes a distraction, too quiet and it's ineffective. Experiment with different types of music to find what works best for you, and use it to create a positive, focused study environment. Chapter 9. Practice in pieces. Instead of cramming everything at once, break your study sessions into smaller chunks. Your brain learns better this way because it needs time to process and store information. Think of your brain like a muscle. If you try to lift a heavy weight without any prior training, you're likely to injure yourself. But if you gradually increase the weight and give your muscles time to rest and recover, you'll get stronger over time. This is called spaced repetition, and it's one of the most effective ways to improve learning and memory. By spacing out your study sessions and giving your brain time to process information, you're essentially helping it build stronger neural connections. Chapter 10. The Hard Road. Finally, let's talk about the hard road. Sure, shortcuts sound tempting, but the harder path often leads to better results. For example, handwriting your notes is slower than typing, but it helps you retain information much more effectively. Why? Because when you handwrite notes, you're forced to engage with the material more actively. You can't just mindlessly type everything down. You have to think about what's important, summarize key concepts, and organize the information in a way that makes sense to you. This active engagement leads to deeper processing and better encoding of the information in your brain. So while it might take a bit longer to handwrite your notes, you'll save time in the long run because you'll remember the material better. Remember, the goal is not to find the easiest way to learn something, but to find the most effective way. And sometimes, the most effective way is also the most challenging. That's it for today. Which of these tricks will you try first? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more awesome content. Remember, learning doesn't have to be a chore. By incorporating these mind tricks into your study routine, you can make learning faster, more efficient, and even enjoyable. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.